It's funny. Solo travel has really taken off. It's like gone from this kind of niche thing to like everyone's talking about it. I get it though, that desire to just explore on your own terms. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge shift, I think, especially after, well, the past few years, everyone being kind of stuck. There's this urge to break free, reconnect with that individual freedom, and solo travel just really taps into that.
Totally. It's like a million possibilities just open up. But where to even start? We were looking at your research on the top solo destinations for 2024. What really jumped out at you?
Well, it's always interesting to see how different cultures uh, kind of approach the whole solo travel thing. Like, take Japan. It's always up there as a top pick, but it's more than just, the whole modern meets traditional thing they've got going on.
Right. You're saying like 1 minute you could be in a bamboo forest, totally zen, and the next you're in the heart of Tokyo,
Yeah.
surrounded by lights and cars. That's got to be a lot to process, even for seasoned travelers.
And that's where the cultural piece is so fascinating. They've got this like built-in appreciation for the individual experience, even down to like how food is presented, how it's eaten, this respect for the craft of it all. So solo dining, it's not just accepted, it's almost celebrated.
Wow. So it's not just about like safety and those crazy on-time trains. It's like their whole culture embraces the solo experience in a way some other places don't.
Exactly. And that can be, really comforting if you're a little hesitant to take the plunge into solo travel.
Speaking of comfort, Japan's great for that fast-paced, organized trip. But sometimes it's about embracing, like, getting a little lost, right?
Absolutely. And for that, Portugal is having a moment. It's so affordable. Amazing food, like under 10 euros for a delicious meal, beautiful coastlines.
Okay, I'm picturing it now, wandering those little cobblestone streets in Lisbon's Alfama district.
Oh, you have to get lost in Alfama. It's like stepping back in time. And the best part is you can just wander, soak it all in at your own pace.
And at the end of some winding alley, I stumble upon this cafe. The smell of, like, strong coffee, fresh pastries.
And if you're into wine, Porto is calling your name.
Yeah.
The Douro river cruises are incredible, especially the small boats. You get these amazing views of the city, the vineyards. You can even do a day trip to the Douro Valley and explore at your own pace.
So we've got the charm of Lisbon, the wine of Porto. What about the coast? I've heard amazing things about Algarve.
Oh, Algarve is perfect if you want a more active solo adventure. It's a surfer's paradise. Incredible beaches.
And you don't even need to be fluent in Portuguese, right? I mean, even just a few phrases, and the locals are so welcoming. Plus, most people in tourist areas speak English.
That's true. There's a real warmth to the Portuguese people. It makes you feel right at home.
Okay, so we've got the structured beauty of Japan, the laid-back vibe of Portugal. For our next destination, let's switch gears completely. Let's talk about a place that draws in solo travelers looking for something truly awe-inspiring. Iceland.
Now, Iceland is for the adventurer. Someone who's drawn to those raw, almost unreal landscapes.
It's funny because even though it seems so remote, so wild, Iceland is consistently ranked as one of the safest countries in the world. And that peace of mind is huge when you're traveling solo.
It is. You can literally rent a car, drive the ring road, circle the entire country at your own pace. Or if you prefer a bit more structure, there are some great smaller group tours that can take you to all the highlights. Glaciers, geysers, waterfalls, you name it.
And of course, the Northern Lights. You can't go to Iceland, especially in winter, and not at least try to catch a glimpse of the aurora. Pure magic.
It's true. And it's not even just like the sights themselves, it's the scale of it all. You really feel the power of nature in Iceland, which is, I don't know, humbling and exhilarating all at the same time.
Yeah, like stepping onto another planet, totally. But as much as Iceland appeals to that, like, adventurous side, our next spot offers a different kind of solo trip. One that's perfect if sustainability is your thing, Exploring the world, but lightly.
Oh, Costa Rica, right. It's become such a hot spot for eco-conscious travelers. And it makes sense. They really put their money where their mouth is when it comes to the environment. You feel it everywhere, from like the rainforests to the accommodations.
Yeah, it's like you get that jungle paradise vibe, but with the reassurance that it's actually being done right.
Right. And for solo travelers, the range of activities is fantastic. You can get that adrenaline rush, zip lining through the rainforest canopy.
Talk about a view, right.
Totally. Or maybe you want something a bit more chill. Find yourself at a yoga retreat tucked away in the jungle. There's something for everyone.
And speaking of variety, gotta mention the wildlife in Costa Rica. 5% of the world's species. That's insane.
It's incredible. Sloths, monkeys, toucans, You're constantly surrounded by nature. It's a dream for anyone who loves wildlife or just wants to, like, really immerse themselves in that environment.
Yeah, that feeling of just being present, surrounded by all that natural beauty, easy to forget how restorative that is when you're stuck in the day-to-day.
Totally agree. And solo travel can really amplify that. You're so much more tuned in,
Yeah.
to your surroundings, to new experiences. It's just such a rich way to experience the world.
So we've got the bright lights of Tokyo, the glaciers of Iceland, the rainforests of Costa Rica. But before we get too carried away, we should probably talk about the practical side of solo travel, especially for anyone who's new to it all.
For sure. I mean, it does take a certain level of self-sufficiency, right?
Mhm.
But it's honestly much more doable than people think. With some prep, it's incredibly rewarding.
Absolutely. And there's so much out there to help. Apps for finding hostels, those hidden gems, even translation apps for navigating the language barrier. Makes you feel more confident for sure.
Yeah, and don't discount online communities. Connecting with other travelers through social media groups or forums. So many good tips, recommendations. Just that feeling of, I don't know, shared experience, even when you're on your own.
It's like your global travel buddy network right there in your pocket. Love that. But okay, even with all the resources, solo travel, it's not always easy. There are going to be moments of, I don't know, loneliness, feeling overwhelmed, all that.
That's true, yeah. It's important to be realistic about those challenges and have ways to deal with them when they come up.
So let's talk safety for a sec. That's a big one, especially for first-time solo travelers. What are your go-to tips for staying safe, but still, embracing that freedom?
Safety is essential, no question. But it shouldn't stop you from having an amazing trip. Often it's the simple things. Picking accommodations in safe, well-lit areas, being aware of your surroundings, trusting your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, for sure. Personally, I always share my itinerary with someone back home. Gives me peace of mind knowing someone knows where I'm supposed to be, when to expect to hear from me.
That's smart. And be careful with your belongings, especially in crowded places. Money belt under your clothes. Lifesaver.
What about transportation? Any tips for navigating public transit, taxis, all that in a new place?
Knowledge is power. Do your research beforehand. Figure out the subway system, the buses, taxis, ride-sharing, whatever it is, and try to avoid traveling alone late at night, especially if you're in an unfamiliar area. If you do use ride-sharing, always double-check the driver's info and share your ride details with someone you trust.
All great tips. It's funny how something as basic as being prepared can make you feel so much safer, so much more confident. And that just makes the whole experience so much more enjoyable.
Totally. It frees you up to relax, let go of those worries, and really just be present in the experience.
It's funny you say that about being present. It's like just talking about these incredible destinations makes me want to just grab my backpack and go. But before I book that one-way ticket, let's talk packing for a sec. You're the solo travel pro. Any tips for someone who might be tempted to, overpack for every possibility?
Oh, the classic mistake. Thinking you need a different outfit for every scenario, right? Less is definitely more when you're traveling solo, especially if you're dealing with, public transport, cobblestone streets.
Oh, yeah. Nobody wants to be that person lugging a giant suitcase up a million stairs in some tiny train station.
Exactly. Pack light, versatile clothes you can mix and match, and for the love of travel, a good backpack or a suitcase with wheels that can handle a little adventure.
And maybe this goes without saying, but good walking shoes are non-negotiable. Learned that the hard way after a very ambitious day exploring Rome in sandals.
Ouch, I can only imagine. It's those little things, right, that can make or break a trip. Speaking of which, even with the best laid plans, solo travel can throw you some curveballs.
Yeah.
What about those moments when, loneliness hits or maybe a little homesickness creeps in? How do you handle that?
Oh, it happens, for sure, even when you're having an amazing time. For me, it helps to just touch base with people back home, a quick video chat or even just sharing some photos makes me feel more grounded.
It's like you're bringing them along for the ride, even from afar.
Exactly. And sometimes, honestly, the best way to deal with loneliness is to just lean into it a little. Use that time for yourself, do some journaling, read, people watch at a cafe. Some of my favorite travel memories are from those quiet moments.
It's true. Those quiet moments can be when you really connect with a place on a different level. You're not just rushing around, you're actually absorbing it, the atmosphere, the pace of life. It's a different kind of travel, but so rewarding.
Totally agree. And sometimes, even with the best intentions, things just don't go according to plan. Any solo travel mishaps you've learned from?
Oh, are you kidding? Countless. I once ended up on a train to the wrong city in Italy because I completely misread the departures board. Ended up being one of the best parts of the trip. Sometimes those unexpected turns, those moments where you have to figure things out on the fly, they turn into the best stories.
It's so true. Embrace the detours. Find the humor in it all.
Exactly. And that's where that self-reliance we were talking about really kicks in, you know. You learn to trust your gut, solve problems, adapt to new situations. Those are good skills to have on the road and just in life.
Couldn't agree more. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From the nitty-gritty of packing lists to like the deeper why of solo travel. But if there's one thing I want listeners to take away from this, it's that solo travel really is for everyone.
100%. It doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from, if you've been all over the world, or this is your first time venturing out. If you've got that adventurous spirit, that curiosity, that desire to like push your own boundaries a little, solo travel might be just a ticket.
So cheesy, but it's true. The world really is out there waiting. And who knows, maybe your next big adventure starts right now with the decision to just book the flight and go.
So tell me, where will your journey take you?